on September 9th, 2016. New Orleans, Louisiana. Tristan Taylor, age 17, claimed he encountered Bloody Mary. The story he posted online will make your blood run cold. I couldn't sleep that night. My eyes were fixed on the glowing numbers of my digital clock, slowly ticking away. It was past midnight, and the world outside my window was quiet. The only sound I could hear was the occasional creaking of the old house, which somehow seemed louder in the stillness of the night. I had always been a skeptic when it came to ghost stories and urban legends. I laughed at my friends when they shared tales of haunted houses and vengeful spirits. But that night, as I scrolled through Reddit on my phone, I stumbled upon a post that would change everything. It was a simple dare, posted on a subreddit dedicated to the supernatural. "Summon Bloody Mary at 3 a.m., the post read. "If you dare to look into the mirror, you'll see her, and she'll show you the truth." I chuckled at first, dismissing it as just another internet prank. But as I read through the comments, I couldn't help but feel a strange sense of curiosity gnawing at me. People were sharing their own experiences, some claiming they had seen her, while others brushed it off as nonsense. It was like a digital campfire, and I was drawn into the stories, like a moth to a flame. As the minutes ticked away, I found myself unable to resist the temptation any longer. The dare was calling out to me like a siren, beckoning me to prove my courage. I thought, why not? It's just a silly legend, right? With a sigh, I finally decided to accept the challenge. I climbed out of my warm bed, careful not to make any noise that might wake my parents. The house was an old Victorian, full of creaky floorboards and drafty windows. Every step I took echoed through the silent hallways, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. I made my way to the bathroom. The bathroom mirror seemed to loom in the dim light, its surface reflecting a distorted version of myself. I hesitated for a moment, staring at my own reflection, questioning my sanity. But the dare, the allure of the unknown, was too strong to resist. I lit 3 candles and arranged them on the bathroom counter. The clock on the wall showed 2:57 a.m. I had 3 minutes to go. Taking a deep breath, I leaned in close to the mirror, my face inches away from the glass. My voice was shaky as I whispered, "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary." The words hung in the air, and I could feel the tension building. I stared at my own reflection, half expecting something to happen, half hoping it wouldn't. Suddenly, the bathroom seemed to grow colder, and I watched in horror as my breath fogged up the mirror. Panic surged through me, but I couldn't look away. I had to see it through, or so I told myself. The seconds stretched into eternity, and just as I was about to give up and laugh at my own foolishness, I saw it. A shape, a shadow, something moving in the mirror behind me. My heart leaped into my throat as I turned around, but there was nothing there, just the empty bathroom. I turned back to the mirror, my eyes wide with fear, and that's when I saw her, a pale, ghostly figure with long, matted hair and hollow eyes, staring at me from the mirror. My blood ran cold as I realized that I was no longer alone in the bathroom. The dare had become all too real, and I was face to face with Bloody Mary herself. My heart pounded in my chest like a relentless drumbeat as I stood there, locked in a silent, unending gaze with Bloody Mary. Her ghostly figure seemed to waver, as if she were a mirage in the steam-covered mirror. It was like a nightmare that had come to life, a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. Time stood still as I watched her, unable to look away. Her eyes, or what remained of them, were pools of darkness, devoid of any emotion. Strands of wet, tangled hair clung to her face, and her pale, translucent skin seemed to glow eerily in the dim candlelight. She was like a spectre from another world, and I couldn't tear my eyes from her terrifying form. The air in the bathroom grew colder with each passing moment, and I could see my breath misting up the mirror. My hands trembled, and I wanted to scream, to run, to do anything to break free from this nightmarish encounter. But I was paralyzed, held in place by an unseen force. Bloody Mary's lips parted, and a chilling, whispery voice emanated from her spectral form. "Do you seek the truth?" she whispered, her voice echoing in the small, confined space. It was a voice that chilled me to the core, but there was no other way to describe it. I managed to find my voice, though it quivered with fear. Yes, I stammered, unsure of what else to say. The figure in the mirror seemed to nod, and then her ghostly image shifted, as if she were stepping out of the mirror and into the bathroom with me. Panic surged through my veins as I watched her slowly materialize in the mist-filled room. Bloody Mary's hand reached out, and her ice-cold fingers brushed against my cheek. It was a touch that felt both real and otherworldly, sending a shudder through my entire body. She leaned in closer, her face inches from mine, her breath icy against my skin. "You seek the truth, but the truth is not always what you want it to be," she whispered, her voice a haunting melody. I wanted to pull away, to escape, but I was trapped in her gaze, unable to move. It was as if she held me in a grip stronger than any physical restraint. The room grew colder still, and I could see my own breath forming frosty clouds in the air. With a sudden, jerking motion, Bloody Mary pulled away from me and retreated back into the mirror. I watched in disbelief as her figure dissolved into mist and was absorbed by the reflective surface. The candles flickered, and the room returned to its eerie silence. I was alone again, or so I thought. The encounter had left me shaken and bewildered, my mind racing with questions and fear. What had just happened? Was it real, or had it all been a hallucination brought on by fear and exhaustion? I stepped away from the mirror, my legs unsteady, and wiped the condensation from the glass. My reflection stared back at me, but there was something different about it. My own eyes seemed haunted, as if I had glimpsed something I was never meant to see. The clock on the wall showed 3:15 a.m. I had survived the encounter with Bloody Mary, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I had unleashed something dark and malevolent into the world. The dare had been a mistake, a foolish act driven by curiosity and bravado. I blew out the candles and left the bathroom, closing the door behind me. As I crawled back into bed, I couldn't help but wonder if I had truly seen the truth, or if I had merely scratched the surface of a much deeper, darker mystery. Sleep did not come easily that night. The echoes of the encounter with Bloody Mary haunted my dreams, and I was plagued by visions of a ghostly figure emerging from the mirror, reaching out to claim me. The line between reality and nightmare had blurred, and I knew that I had ventured into a realm of the unknown, a realm where the truth was far more terrifying than any legend or ghost story. The following days were a blur of fear and paranoia. I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd invited something dark and evil into my life, something that was now lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike. Every creak of the old house, every gust of wind, and every flickering light bulb sent my heart racing. I tried to convince myself that what I had experienced in the bathroom had been a trick of the mind, a product of sleep deprivation and fear, but deep down I knew it was real. Bloody Mary had crossed over from the realm of legend into my world, and she wasn't about to let me forget it. Strange things began to happen around the house. Objects would move on their own, sliding across tables and countertops as if guided by an unseen hand. The temperature would plummet suddenly, causing me to shiver even when I was wrapped in blankets. And then there were the whispers, faint and eerie, like a chorus of ghostly voices that echoed through the halls. Nights were the worst. I would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, dreading the inevitable moment when sleep would claim me. Because in my dreams, Bloody Mary was waiting. Her pale figure would appear at the foot of my bed, her long, tangled hair obscuring her face. She would glide closer, her fingers cold as ice as she reached out to touch me. The dreams were vivid, too vivid, and I would wake up in a cold sweat, unable to shake the feeling of her presence. I knew I had to find a way to break the curse, to banish Bloody Mary back to wherever she had come from. I spent hours scouring the internet, searching for answers. I found countless stories of people who had encountered her and lived to tell the tale, but none of them offered a solution. One night, as I was scrolling through a forum, I came across a thread that caught my attention. It was a conversation between two users, both claiming to have encountered Bloody Mary. One of them mentioned a ritual, a way to banish her once and for all. The instructions were simple. I needed to return to the bathroom at 3 a.m., just as I had when I had summoned her. But this time, I had to say her name 3 times and then repeat the words, "I banish you, Bloody Mary, back to the darkness from whence you came." It sounded easy enough, but I knew it wouldn't be. The days leading up to the ritual were a mix of anticipation and dread. I couldn't escape the feeling that Bloody Mary was watching my every move, that she knew what I was planning, but I couldn't back down now. I had to confront her, to banish her from my life forever. The night of the ritual arrived, and I found myself once again standing in front of the bathroom mirror, my heart pounding in my chest. The candles flickered as I lit them. The clock on the wall showed 2:55 a.m., and I knew I had to act quickly. I took a deep breath and stared into the mirror, my own reflection staring back at me. "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary," I whispered, my voice trembling with fear. Then, with all the determination I could muster, I repeated the words, "I banish you, Bloody Mary, back to the darkness from whence you came." The room grew colder, and I could see my breath misting up the mirror once again. But this time, there was no ghostly figure, no terrifying encounter. I had done it. I had banished her. Relief washed over me, and I couldn't help but smile. I had faced my fears and conquered them. I was free from the curse of Bloody Mary, free from her haunting presence. As the days turned into weeks, the strange occurrences in the house gradually ceased. The whispers faded, the objects stopped moving, and the temperature returned to normal. It was as if Bloody Mary had never been there in the first place. Yesterday, I woke up at 3 a.m. and had to use the bathroom. I didn't want to wake everyone, so I didn't turn on any lights. While I was in the bathroom, I glanced at the mirror and remembered the encounter with Bloody Mary. I laughed at myself for being stupid to even try to summon her. feeling both dumb and relieved. But then, I saw her again, and this time, she looked way more horrifying. She had a sinister smile that seemed to say, "You fool, we're not done yet." So here I am, writing this to warn all of you. Don't even think about trying to summon Bloody Mary. I have a feeling this nightmare isn't over yet. I'll keep you updated. What happened to Tristan, no one knows. He never posted another update. This was his one and only post.